Hey, I'm Pastor Fred. This is the follow through. We often tell people and really tell ourselves that it's going to get better. And there are times when that's true. Yeah, things are going to get better, especially, like when you're growing up and you're in that awkward kind of teenage phase, and maybe that's where you're at right now as you're watching this. Yeah, it gets better. And when you learn things and your situation can change. Now, let's be honest, sometimes things get worse. But the one thing that doesn't change that I want us to see is that Jesus is with us. Because if me telling people about Jesus, if me having joy, and if me, just having God's kind of mindset was dependent on things being good in my life and everything working to my advantage, I would never do that. Because there's never a time where everything's just perfect and lines up. In fact, there's always a lot of difficulty, especially when it comes to us being the church and telling people about Jesus. I think it's only going to get harder and more difficult and worse. Why? Well, Paul says in 2 Timothy chapter 3, he says, but understand this. He wants you to know that in the last days, there will come times of difficulty. Right? And if you when you have time, look at the rest of that passage, because it's really talking about how people are going to be. Right? They're going to love themselves, they're going to love money, they're going to be proud, they're going to be abusive. It's right, and it sounds like what we see every day, the way people treat each other, the way people treat us. And I think what we want to do is expect it. Right? Not do things to stir people up, but just to expect that there's going to be this kind of reaction. In this book, which a lot of this Exiles series that we've been doing at church has been inspired by a book by Elliot Clark. It's called Evangelism as Exiles. I highly recommend it to you, to your church. And on page 94 of that book, he talks about a man named Mustafa. And he was a former Muslim and just became a Christian. And a lot of people, he was at a meeting of Christians, and they were talking about, telling people about Jesus, and some in the room were saying, you got to pick your spot, you got to, see where there's an opportunity. And he's like, what? Because he was living in a Muslim-dominated area. Elliot Clark was a missionary in Muslim-dominated areas. So they're not asking people about Jesus. In fact, they would rather you not talk about it. And they're really pretty adamant about it. So you can't just wait around for receptivity, right, to kind of rule the day. In fact, he says this, and I want to read a little bit from the book here. He basically says, Jesus promised that we're going to be ostracized and maybe even beaten. So he says, I set my expectations according to his word, he continued. And it says that way, he says, I'm not surprised when something bad happens. So he's expecting it. He's not expecting like, hey, I'm a Christian, everyone's just going to respect me and love me and welcome my message with open arms. So we have to realize that there's going to be, like, probably the normal course of your faith life is going to be that. Where people are going to think, man, you're going too far, you're too serious about this, you're right, you're no fun, you're this, you're that, you're going to get abuse, and if you live in certain places in the world, even right now, as I'm filming this, there's people that where it's illegal to speak about Jesus. And if you were to convert someone to Christ, man, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to get jailed, you might even get killed. But what do? We keep going. We keep going. We see, and we thank God for his warning. We thank God for giving us a heads up and loving us so much that he doesn't sugarcoat it. And he says, yeah, you're going to have difficulty. You will be ostracized. But the Lord of the universe calls you his own. Think about that. The one who matters, the one who holds all the cards, who has all the power, who is all loving and all caring, cares about you and died for you and loves you, welcomes you. What more could we need? What more should we want? And I'm praying for you, and I want you to pray today. Just ask God to help you to have that attitude. Just to see the reality for what it is, to see how the difficult road ahead, and to say, okay, Things are getting dark, but God's got the light that we need in that darkness to shine so brightly. So let's do that. And one of the ways we can shine that light is to share this message with somebody, right? You could literally just tell somebody what you just learned, right, with this, and follow through on what God is saying, right? To say, hey, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to tell people about Jesus. And to encourage each other, to share this video, to subscribe to this channel so that you're getting this content and getting encouraged every single day. I pray that, again, we embrace all of this and embrace His victory as we move forward as His church. I'm Pastor Fred. Again, this is The Follow Through. We'll see you next time for another one.